Hey guys, I'm going to be going over some of the best overclocking tools that I've come across, and these are still really relevant to us today in 2017. So I'm going to start off by going over CPU-Z. CPU-Z is going to display most of your processor's functions, everything that's going on. It's going to give you live data, live measurements. Okay, so yeah, CPU-Z is going to be really essential to have along with you while you're overclocking. You're probably going to want to keep it open while you're stress testing to make sure stability isn't compromised at all. You can go through the other tabs and see some of the specs for the motherboard, the memory, your graphics processor if you have one. I have a discrete and integrated card on my laptop, so it's going to show me specs for both of them. It doesn't show too much though, because that's an integrated card and it just doesn't show any specs for my discrete NVIDIA card. But if you're using a desktop, you'll most likely see everything. The next thing I want to go over, that I wanted to go over, was AMD Overdrive. But since I'm using an Intel system right now, I can't really open Overdrive to show you guys. But just keep in mind that if you're overclocking and you have an AMD processor, definitely get Overdrive on your system and learn how to use it. It's really beneficial. The only tool that I use for stress testing my CPU is going to be Prime 95. Prime 95 has this small FFT torture test, which lets you tax the CPU exclusively and really make sure that your overclock is stable before using it, in real world situations. It also has different types of tests, like this blend test, which incorporates more RAM than the small FFT test. So you can play around with this too if you really want to, but that's just how it works. I'm not gonna stress test my machine right now, but this is what it's gonna look like while it's stress testing. Another awesome program for overclocking or adjusting your GPU settings is going to be MSI Afterburner. So Afterburner is software by MSI. It's definitely going to give MSI hardware a little bit of an advantage. You can tweak it a little bit more precisely than you could, an FXX card or a Sapphire card. And since I'm on my laptop right now, I can't really adjust my core voltage or anything like that, but I can adjust my core clock and my memory clock. I'm not going to do so right now. It clearly displays all your stats right here on the left and the right, and it's going to give you a live graph of your GPU's temperature. So it's going to be monitoring your temperature live. Speaking of temperature, I want to bring up core temp. Core temp is something that you absolutely need to have open while you're stress testing. It's going to show the minimum and maximum temperatures for each of your CPU cores. It's going to show you the load that's going on them. So when you're stress testing, each core is going to be at 100% load. And this really helps you keep track of what temperature your CPU is at if it crashed, so you can log that and make a note of whatever you just most recently tweaked. So if your temperatures flare up, you know exactly what you did and exactly how it flared up. And lastly, I want to go over GPU-Z, which is pretty close to CPU-Z. I'm installing it really quick right here, and once you open it up, you're going to see that it's really close to CPU-Z. It's made by the same people. It's going to show you your base clock, your memory clock, all your frequencies, and all your GPU stats. So it's definitely a helpful program to have open while you're messing with GPU settings. So that's basically it for each of the programs. I didn't really go in depth on any of them. I just wanted to introduce you to these programs. So if you're overclocking or tweaking any of your CPU or GPU frequencies or memory clock speeds or anything like that, everything I mentioned in this video is going to be absolutely essential.